Good morning. Sick kids again. It's going around. It's going around. Drink lots of orange juice. Don't get sick. Okay? First four problems today are going to be on the bottom of yesterday's note sheet. Okay, so I'll give you a couple of seconds to grab that white note sheet out. It's the additional ones. It's those four that are below the line from yesterday. And then get out your textbooks right away too, because we will be having a lot of examples throughout your textbook. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to reduce those four fractions if possible. I'll give you a couple of minutes here to get that done. I'm going to let the video run throughout it so that Mrs. Lucky doesn't have to keep coming up and pushing pause. So simplifying those four fractions. On number one, both 6 and 8 can be divided by 2. So if 6 is divided by 2, I'm left with 3. If 8 is divided by 2, I'm left with 4. So my answer here is 3x over 4. On number 2, yes, 6 can be divided by 2 and 8 can be divided by 2. But that entire top is has an addition sign in it, so I have to factor something out of there, and nothing factors out of 6x plus 1. So this is just my answer right there. In number 3, same thing as what was going on there in number 2, except now that a 2 can be factored out of the top. And now that that 2 is out in front, now we can divide it by 2, divide 8 by 2, leaving me with 3x plus 2 all over 4 as my final answer. And in number 4, again, I'm thinking of the entire top here. Nothing can be factored out of the top, so nothing can be simplified there. Remember, anytime that you see an addition or a subtraction sign, either excuse me, on the top or on the bottom, that whole thing needs to be considered then, and we need to factor out in order to simplify. All right, so now we're on page 608 in your textbook. Okay? It says calculate the least common denominator. Well, least common denominator is just a fancy word for just finding a common denominator. Okay? When we're dealing with rational expressions, the least common denominator is probably going to be your best. Okay? So what you do, I'll put them right down, I'll go right down the middle with them. Okay? First thing you do is you factor all of your denominators. Okay? And then you're going to write all of the factors instance, in A, I'm looking here at x plus 4. It's factored. Okay? Then I'm looking at x minus 4. It's factored. So step number 1, I have factored all of my denominators. Done. Step number 2 then says I'm going to write all of my factors, but I'm not going to repeat anything. So in my first one, I needed x plus 4. From my second one, I needed x minus 4. Haven't repeated anything, so those right there, when I can multiply them together, that is my least common denominator. We're taking the baby steps to finding common denominators with a little trickier things here now. Okay, let's look at B now. 3x minus 2, I factor that. Well, there's nothing that can be factored out of that. There's no number that goes into both 3 and 2 other than 1, and there's only an x in the first term, so that one's done. Okay? Then I look at 3x squared plus 7x minus 6, and I say to myself, that's probably going to be a butt cheeks factoring. So that's probably going to be a 3x and an x, and then I am guessing 2 there and 3 there. I need a positive 7, so I'm going to put a positive there and a negative there. So this has factored now into 3x minus 2 and x plus 3. So now I go to my step 2. I write all my factors. So from here, from the first one, I need a 3x minus 2. Okay, for my LCD. Here is a 3x minus 2, but I'm not going to repeat it because I've already got it. But then I also need an x plus 3. So my least common denominator is that. This is how we go about starting, because we're going to add and subtract these fractions here momentarily, and so we need to start thinking about how to find LCDs of them. Okay? What I'd like you to try now is I'd like you to try C and D, please. Find me the least common denominator. Spot check here in C. So I need to have an x from there. I need to have an x minus 4 from the second one, or from the middle one, I should say. And then on the last one, I already have the x minus 4, so I don't need to write it again. And then I need an x plus 4. So I've got all of my factors, and I'm ready to go. Okay. On this one, I need two numbers that multiply together to be positive 6 and add to be negative 5. So that's x minus 2 and x minus 3. On this one, I need two numbers that multiply together to be positive 9 and add to be negative 6. So that's going to be x minus 3 and x minus 3. So I need an x minus 2 from there. I need an x minus 3, both from the left one. I already have an x minus 3, and so then I need another x minus 3, because in this case, the first one I already had, but I didn't have the second one. So I needed to have both of those from that one. If you think about it another way, if you start backwards, I would need to have, let me go to a different color, I'll go to purple. I would need to have this one, and I would need to have this one if I worked my way from right to left. Then when I get to the green ones, I would already have one here, and then I would need an x minus 2. Okay? Because it doesn't matter which fraction you start with in terms of writing down the factors. All right, let's dive head first into the pool that is adding and subtracting rational fractions. Okay? So first thing, remember our steps from yesterday. Our first step was common denominator. Okay, well, that's what we were just doing on the previous slide. So you first have to factor the first fraction. Well, that factors to be x minus 3 and x plus 3. The right fraction is already factored. Okay, so from yesterday, step number 2 then was we adjusted to fit the common denominator. Well, our common denominator now is going to be, I need an x minus 3 and I need an x plus 3 from the left fraction. I already have an x minus 3, so I'm good there. So now I've just got to adjust each fraction. First fraction, the left fraction, if you will, doesn't need, we'll go purple. The left fraction here doesn't need any adjusting because I'm already in my common denominator. So that's going to be 5x minus 6. My right fraction needs adjusting because I only have x minus 3, so I need to multiply the top by x plus 3. So I've adjusted my fractions now. Okay. So then this will become, I'm picking colors here. So 5x minus 6 over x minus 3, x plus 3 minus 4x plus 12 over x minus 3, x plus 3. Then step 3 from yesterday was add or subtract the tops. Bottom is our common denominator. Okay. So on top here, I'm going to have 5x minus 6, but I'm going to have to subtract that whole top. You got to be careful with your subtraction signs there. Okay, I'm going to subtract that whole top, and then that's going to be over x minus 3, x plus 3. Okay, now you can do that math. I can distribute in that negative sign, so we get 5x minus 6 minus 4x minus 12 all over x minus 3, x plus 3. Combining like terms on the top, that gives me x minus 18 all over x minus 3, x plus 3. Okay. And then we said yesterday, once we get there, then we reduce if possible. Well, nothing factors out of the top, so that is my answer. If nothing factors out of the top and you've got an addition sign or a subtraction sign, then you're good to go. Now, it also added into something called make sure to list the restrictions for the variable. Right up here it said in the directions, make sure to list the restrictions. That's from the domain of your new function. Okay, actually you look at all of your different functions and you say, okay, so from my original one there, x cannot equal 3, x cannot equal negative 3. From your second one, x cannot equal positive 3. So, and from your new one, you look at all of your different parts and you look at your answers. So your restrictions here, let me go through and let me erase that part there. So my restrictions here, x could not equal plus or minus 3. Okay, where the denominator equals 0. Remember, we don't like denominators equaling 0 because Cookie Monster doesn't get any cookies and you don't have any friends. If you ask Siri on your iPhones what 0 divided by 0 is, you'll understand that comment. Okay? So, then, what I'd like you to do now is I would like you to sorry, I had to do some adjusting there. I would like you to now do B and D from page 610. I will give you 7 minutes of dead air time. Actually, let's do it this way. Let's have Mrs. Lucky pause it here, and then when everybody's done, we can restart it. All right, so here we go. First one, we need to factor two numbers that multiply together to be 2 and add to be negative 3 are x minus 2 and x minus 1. Two numbers that multiply together to be 10 and add to be negative 7 are x minus 5 and x minus 2. So my common denominator is x minus 2, x minus 1, x minus 5. I already have the x minus 2 from right there. Okay? So that is my common denominator here. So the first one, I am missing purple. Okay, so I started with, I got x minus 7 there, but which one am I missing? I'm missing x minus 5. Okay. Second one, I started with 4, and I am missing x minus 1 from my common denominator. Okay. So numerator because it is a addition sign. But then all of that is going to be over x minus 2, x minus 1, x minus 5. So my numerator now becomes x squared minus 8x plus 31 all over x minus 2, x minus 1, x minus 5. Now here again, I look for, can the numerator be factored? And I cannot, there are not two numbers that multiply together to be 31 and add to be negative 8. So then I go to my restrictions. So for sure, x cannot equal 2, 1, or 5 from my answer. Go back up. Nothing else factored out, top and bottom. So we're good there. So then this is my answer with my restrictions. Second one. This factors to be 2x plus 3 times 2x plus 3. The other two are already factored. So I need a 2x plus 3 and a 2x plus 3. From the first one, I already have one of those, but then I also need a 3. Ooh, I'm going to run short of room here. Let's move this down. Give me a second. Move that down to the bottom. So we can move then this. Move stuff around here. There, now I got stuff moved around. Okay. So then my common denominator is that and that. And then it's minus 3 times 2x plus 3 times x plus 3. Okay. First one, the only thing that needs to change is I need a 3. Second one, what needs to change is I need a 3 and I need another 2x plus 3. Third one, what needs to change is I need a 2x plus 3 and a 2x plus 3. Okay. So my first numerator is going to be 9x minus 15. My second numerator is going to be, these two multiplied together is 12. 12 times 2 is 24x. 12 times 3 is plus 36. Now, these two multiplied together was that right up there. So this is 4x squared plus 12x plus 9. Knowing what you already know, use what you've already had. So when I multiply the 2x into those three spots, then I get 8x cubed plus 24x plus, 24x squared plus 18x. So on top, I'm going to have 9x minus 15 plus 24x plus 36. Now this negative sign right there is going to have to go in to all of those. So that's minus 8x cubed minus 24x squared minus 18x. And all of that is over 3 times 2x plus 3 times 2x plus 3. So on top, you've got negative 8x cubed minus 24x squared. So that's that one and that one. Minus 9, so that's plus 15x from there and there, because that's 33. And then minus 18 is plus 15 there, and then plus 21. And all of that is over 3 times 2x plus 3 times 2x plus 3. Woo! Love that math. Love it. Okay? Fantastic. Now, we're trying something new this unit. Okay? So this next problem, which is letter C, this is your exit ticket. What you need to do is you need to do this problem right now while Mrs. Lucky hands out the homework, the 8.1 try it on your own homework. Do this one, and in order to leave, you need to show her that you did it right. She has an answer key up front with what is the answer on that one. Oops, while you're doing that, one thing we forgot about this last one, we forgot our restrictions, and x over here cannot equal negative 3/2, because that's where 2x plus 3 would equal 0. So 2x would equal negative 3, so x would equal negative 3/2. So there's that one, and that's my only restriction, because everything else was the same. Okay. All right. So we got to add that into there. Okay. So I want restrictions, and I want what the simplified answer is. Then homework this weekend is the blue 8.1 sheet. Have a great day.